Okay, this generalized principle is an absolute game changer. I'll say that because it actually changed my life and where I play. And it's a simple question. Are you above or below this line here? Are you above or below the line? It's a simple question, and the great answer is that you're either above or below it. There is no grey, it's black or white. You're either going to be up here or down there. I'm going to tell you what down there looks like. There's three parts. The first is blame. This is where a person lays blame on someone else. Okay, we go external. We don't come from an internal place. So we point the finger. So you might want to point the finger. That's it. Pick up your finger right now and point to me, or point to someone else. And the thing is, when you do that, there's always three fingers pointing back at us. Okay, so when we go to blame, normally there's a reverse situation happening there. So, if you think about it, who do we blame? We blame our spouse, our partner, our girlfriend, boyfriend, mum or dad, the kids, the government, the economy, my team, my customers. We go external. There's always someone else's fault, not ours. Okay, so lay blame and blaming other people is a below the line behaviour. Okay, so I'm going to question you. Do you do that? Or where do you do that if you do? The second one here is making an excuse. Okay, I'm going to get you to also write down beside that, that's justify. What is it? Justify. So when we do excuse and excuses and justification, we've been doing it probably since we're a kid. The dog ate my homework. Okay, and that is just, or we couldn't go for a run because it was too cold. Okay, the classic one in business is we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to do that, therefore. Okay, so we make excuses of why we don't go and do certain, get to our goals and do certain actions is because a lot of the time we've got an excuse in the background. Okay, and the third one is a place of denial. Okay, and I always say I'm not talking about a river in northern Africa. Denial is saying, hey, I don't have a problem. Okay, it's not being in tune with reality. Write that down. It's not having the truth about my reality right now. Okay, so a lot of the time, the way I make the example is this is, if we're not fit, we'll look in the mirror with no clothes on and say, man, you're fit. Gee, I'm good looking, when you're not. In terms of business, it'll be saying, hey, we've got a great business, when really it's not that great. Okay, so we get into a denial state where we think we're doing okay, but really in reality we're not. Now, one thing I do know is that most people gravitate to one of these, okay, is that they've got a favourite that they normally gravitate to when they're below the line, all right? And if you think that you're not below the line also, I'm going to suggest that you're in the third one. Okay, so just have a think about that. You're in the third one if you don't think you're down there. The challenge is that no matter which one's your favourite, okay, that we always end up being this guy or girl over here. We're the victim. And I'll tell you one thing. Victims always have a story. You watch, the story will always sound great. Okay, there'll be a story behind them and their process, okay? And look, I'm going to cut to the chase on this one. When we're down here, we're going to end up being sad, okay? All right, that's not life and business fulfillment down here. The good thing about this is you've got a choice. Right now, everyone looking at this particular clip has got a choice on where you play. And the above the line choice is taking ownership, really owning something, okay, being fully accountable for it and being responsible. Now, I always think that this word responsible here, although the Oxford Dictionary says it's this spelling, I always put an A in there. And you might be thinking, well, Bruce can't spell, and that may be the case. And the thing about this is that I have got the ability, I am able to choose my response. So if you think about this, if you had let's say in your business right now, a very important customer or a supplier pull out from you, okay, and did not do business with you anymore because of some circumstance, you've got the ability to choose how you respond to that stimuli. You can go, oh man, look, that is terrible, I don't like that, I'm going to blame or excuse or do something around that particular supplier or customer. Or you can say, hey, there's a good learning. Maybe we needed that learning in this particular business to go forward. Maybe if we hadn't have done this, we wouldn't have lost them. But most people end up going below the line and saying, well, they weren't the right customer for us, or the supplier, or, that's because of, or, we've got a great business, etc. So up here, when we do this behavior, we're always got a smiley face happening. We're the victor up here. This is kind of where the enjoyment is in progressing in life. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'm going to suggest you take note of this. It is frigging hard, really hard to stay up there all the time. It is way easy to live down here. Now, I've seen businesses turn around on this. I've seen relationships turn around on this particular principle. I'll give you an example. I coach a electronics business. These guys have got a lot of team. They've got a lot of young team in that particular business, all between 16 and 21. Okay, when I first went and coached that business, they had a crap culture, and even the owner said that's one of the reasons why he came to me. And when we actually went back to that business after I'd taught the business owner this principle, he went back with the one goal over the next 6 months in that business, that he was going to put above and below the line into the culture and the fabric of that particular business. This guy went and printed off this particular principle, and he put it up everywhere. This thing was in the tea room, this was behind the counter, they had it even in the toilets, okay, they had it everywhere. There was like 60 above and below the lines on the wall. They trained this, they kept going back, and they made a culture of saying, even when the business owner was included in this, is that they would say, we are going to call people when they're below the line. So no matter what your place in the business is, when you go below the line, we're going to ask you the question, are you above or below the line? You can't say also, you're below the line, Bob, because when you do that, you're in blame. Okay, so you've got to ask them the question for them to actually take ownership on this. I also want to mention on this principle how this actually works. When in team members, okay, so team members normally start out most employees in some denial. That they won't be, the bad ones won't have any awareness of their behaviour. Everything's good, they don't know. They then move up the ladder to a place of making excuses. So once they've got some awareness of that, that they're late, as an example, let's say someone is late, continuously late. Half the time they may not know that they are late. Once they've actually got some awareness that they're late, okay, then they can say, hey, I was caught in traffic, etc. Then they move up to a blame. So, bloody traffic stopped me from getting here on time. That's kind of how it sort of starts from the bottom up. When they actually come to an above the line state, responsible, if you think about this, could be you, I might add, that a responsible employee will do the bare minimum. They'll arrive on the stroke of when they needed to start, and they'll finish exactly when they need. But there's no other extra effort. And it's not only just on what time they start and go, that's not the point, but they do the bare minimum to get the job done. They're at a sort of responsible. And then when they move to an accountability point of view, this is where a person allows other people to hold them to account. It's kind of like where you allow coaching to come into your life and someone to say, hey Bob, if you do this, we expect this by then, and you can hold me accountable to that. Okay, so that's kind of accountability. The supreme part of any team member is where we go to a place of ownership. This is where it could be their business. They actually put in so much effort Okay, it could be in time, it could be in just general energy that they bring to the table. They've put in so much energy that they actually take full ownership. They're fully accountable, and they've also got ownership, truly ownership of the business. And I'm not talking about you giving equity or shares or anything to that. That might be a strategy though. But these guys up and girls up here have taken supreme ownership. So in terms of above and below the line, I must have presented this about 20,000 times in the last decade. Okay, there is so much depth to this principle, and I'm going to suggest this to you as you have a good hard look at this. Really embed this into your life. I've seen homework with adolescent kids where it's not been done before. Once they actually got in and understood this, they actually were getting homework done, etc., etc. All my clients have actually got this on their fridge at home, okay, because this is a life principle. You know, this starts at home. Yes, it turns up in the business too, and you can do something like my electronics guy, but this starts at home. So where are you playing on this right now? If you had to give me a percentage, so if you said to me, Bruce, hey, you know, I'm going to spend 60% down there and 40% up there, you know, what would your percentages look like? My final on this one, write this down. People that are below the line always have these. They always have reasons. There'll be a story. Up here, people that are above the line always have results. And that could be results financially, wealth, health, relationships, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, where are you playing? Where do you want to play? Let's not have reasons. Let's get out there, get above the line and get some results. This is a huge one. I hope you embed it into your business and, more importantly, your life.